it's judging from the reaction the last time we talked about it, people are really interested. They're really into this. So we'll see how it ends up.
Potentially join his Medicine Hat teammate Caden Lindstrom in Michigan State if he did that. But holy smokes, yeah, whether it's them or Penn State, who have really emerged on the scene, as we talked about, on the men's Division I level, boy, what a get that could be for any program with the opportunity to add Gavin McKenna into the fold. That's going to be, of that category, that'll be the biggest story this summer, is where he ends up playing in the fall.
Yeah,
a lot of eyeballs on that. All right, that was the final thought, brought to you by GMC. We'll take our first break. We still have our interview with Matthew Schaefer to come, but before we get to that, the Thought Line. 32 Thoughts, the podcast, continues after this. All right, welcome back. Time once again for the Thought Line. Elliot, anything stuck in your craw before we get to today's submissions?
So before you came on as the co-host of this pod, back in, we'll call it maybe like 2 BK before Kyle, I talked about how I love the Aritzia Cafe at Yorkdale. I like to go there and have a coffee. Yeah. So we had a birthday for 2 of my nephews on Sunday. I had to go pick something up at Yorkdale, so I went for my Aritzia coffee, and I go to the house, and my brother-in-law's dad is there, and he's like, he sees my coffee cup say Aritzia, and he goes, "Really, Aritzia coffee?" And I'm like, "They make really good coffee." And he goes, "I hate coffee snobs." And I said, "Sandy, I am not a coffee snob, but I will tell you who is." And I said, if you don't like coffee snobs, you would not like my podcast co-host.
Oh, but I'm not a snob.
Yes, you are.
Don't pin me. I don't judge. Folks can enjoy their coffee however they want.
No, Dominic, it's not my father-in-law. It's my brother-in-law's dad. So he's not my father-in-law.
Fathers, brothers, cousins, former roommate.
Yes. Dom thinks he's being smart. He's like, "Elliot, you dummy." He sends me a text. "Elliot, you dummy, that's just your father-in-law." No, it's not. He's married to my wife's sister, so it's not my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This segment is already off the rails.
Ancestry.ca.
That's right. 23andMe. We've dropped your DNA all over the internet.
Oh my gosh. So what is it about Aritzia coffee that you like so much?
I don't know.
Do you have an Americano there too?
Yeah, they just make great coffee.
Good.
Yeah.
I'd love to try it someday.
Yeah.
Off-season adventure. All right, we begin today. Mark in Detroit. Hello, Soundmaster Shamati. Gatekeeper Griffin. Fashion icon Elliot. And ticket agent Kyle. A few weeks ago. I don't know, Mark.
I like that. That's your new nickname. You're the ticket agent.
Yeah. You need a deal? Tickets? Anyone? I'm your broker. A few weeks ago, I watched the Champions League final. Immediately after the final whistle, the CBS camera cuts to a shot of an engraver working on putting the name of the winning team on the trophy. I thought it was pretty cool that it happened so quickly and wondered what it would take to get the NHL to do something similar. Couldn't the 2 finalists submit their lists of names ahead of time before the series starts? I can't imagine it would be very different from what they would submit after it's all said and done anyways. And there are 2 cups. Why not bring out the show one for the presentation and have an engraver already working on adding the team name to the original? That way the players could already point to their names when they get their traditional day with the cup over the summer. And if they work fast enough, it might even be done in time to go into the locker room celebration. Then trade off the show one with the original to engrave that one as well. It seems like it would be well received by all the winners, so I'm counting on the 32 Thoughts crew and their immense pull with the league. We all know Gary is an avid listener to make it happen. Don't let me down.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not. I just think in practice, because of that trophy.
52 is a lot. 50,
Yes.
It's 52 names, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So, and they have been for years going to the same silversmith in Old Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they go get the trophy done. And I guess as of this recording, they're in the final steps of getting confirmation from the Florida Panthers, the 52 names that they want to have on the cup. So this year's process, Elliot, there's hoping to have it engraved by the end of June, kind of into early July. And what is kind of neat about this, because Mark asked about having the names engraved by the time the players get their day with the cup. So for many, many years, that was something that happened at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
But in 2023, when Vegas won, George McPhee and the Knights agreed that it would be great to have it prior to the Cup Tour in the summer. So they delayed the start of that for a few days to have the names put on. And then as it toured around, as every player got their day with the Cup over the summer, they and their families and friends and everybody that came out to see it could see their name on it. So since 2023, that has become a tradition in the summertime with the Stanley Cup champions.
Kyle, that was a good story, actually. And I was just looking this up, but there's a story from Anna Kulisa on NHL.com on July 13th showing the engraving, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I believe the Panthers last year actually were allowed to have 53 names because one wasn't included initially, and they went back and said, we really need this name on there. So I think the Panthers were given a 53rd name. Good answer, though, Kyle. Like, good research, man.
That's a good question. Like, in theory, it would be wonderful, but I just think in practice it may not be with the Stanley Cup. And they need a bit of time to get that engraving done right. And it's neat that they've been going to the same place in Old Montreal, of all places, to get
that.
it done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yes.
And maybe this year they only get 51 if they had 53 last year. Balance it out. I don't think that's
right. Cut it to one. Yeah.
Has to be a total of 104, one way or another. All right, up next, a voicemail. Have a listen here, Elliot. A gentleman from St. Louis. I couldn't quite make his name out when he says it, but let's have a listen.
What's up, guys? My name's Clay out in St. Louis. I was calling because on the last episode that came out on Friday, Elliot talked about how there were some teams that couldn't even get involved with Mason Marchment because he had some protection. So it kind of led me to wonder, do teams, like, is there a running list of what a guy's no